What a week it was if your name was Cliff Sims. 2 weeks ago, you were a nobody, a zero. You'd say, hey, my name's Cliff Sims, and people would laugh because it's a funny name. Cliff Sims, named after a rock formation in a computer game. But it's amazing what a tell-all will do for name recognition.
Cliff Sims joins us now. Welcome.
My main goal here is to have as much fun as the mooch. It was a lot of kind of the Game of Thrones, backstabbing, all that kind of stuff.
He's got a beautiful white marble bathroom.
I was a Viper, too. I was one of them. I just saw Sean Spicer toting a refrigerator out of here with a cord dangling.
He got a new chandelier in there, which we paid for his own with his own money. And the whole atmosphere is kind of like, can you believe it? Here we are. Yeah.
Well, would you look at that? Suddenly this guy gets more airtime than a Frisbee at a Fish concert. It's not his fault. He's just giving the lockstep lemmings what they want, Trump with all the trimmings. And it doesn't matter if what they gobble up is the same crap they inhaled a month before. Cliff Sims, former White House staffer, is now Cliff Sims' superstar for a week. And why? Because he's a fink. His tell-all has all the shocking details. Get this, for example, the president uses Tresemme Extra Hold hairspray. I know, fancy, $5. It's a populist hairspray for average Joes with orange hair. Get this, Trump would often point out to Oval Office visitors where Clinton and Lewinsky had sex. Who wouldn't do that? It's like the most interesting thing to happen in the Oval Office. It's a stain on our history and the office rug. So the media waits breathlessly on its hind legs, rubbing up against Cliff's knees for scraps. It says more about the media than Sims, who they use like a blow-up doll, punching in and then punching out, and tossing him onto the pile of narcs who came before him. And the media wonders why we have such a low opinion of the media. Because they have a low opinion of you. They think we actually want this. Worse, they think it matters because they're still nursing bruises from 2016. It's why the rest of us felt satisfied when the Daily Telegraph had to apologize and pay money to Melania for making a about her. And some of that crap was taken from a previous tell-all, which contained loads of other Imagine that, an unreliable tell-all. How could that be? Look, tell-alls never put the subject in a good light. That's why it's always a shocking tell-all, not a flattering tell-all. As a boss, I know I can be a target of such things. They're doing a documentary on me right now, and I gotta tell you, it's not pretty.
What's it like to work for Greg?
Well, one day last year, he made me stay late. It was my birthday, and he knew that I wanted to go out with my friends. And he said, no, you still have to work anyway. He said it was important. And he sent me downtown to go pick up a package for him. And when I got there, he had thrown like this huge surprise party for me. All my friends and family were there somehow. ABBA was there performing an outdoor concert for all the guests. It was amazing. Eric Estrada was there signing autographs for people. How did Greg know that Eric Estrada was my long-lost half-brother? It's the best birthday I ever had. And when I asked people how, Greg pulled this off and why wasn't he there, they told me he was at my apartment watering my plants because he knew I wouldn't be able to do it that night. I mean, what a guy.
That wasn't so bad. Fact is, you can clap for me, not for him. It's not over. Basically, a tell-all relies on trash and a low-level garbage man who needs money to offer such trash. Because no publisher is going to fork out the dough to a book called Meetings with Trump, He's Awesome. Trashing the subject is the business model, which they've now stretched for 2 years. And you can't do a tell-all about a boring person. Chapter 1, he's stretched. Imagine a tell-all about Mike Pence. Rumor has it his wife once caught him looking at another woman. It was the Virgin Mary. Nope, if you lived any kind of life, there's going to be dirt. Me, I got more dirt than El Chapo's fingernails. Here's what my staff is saying about me.
So you and Greg have worked together for a while. Are you guys close?
One time, he invited me to his office. It was late, We were alone. One thing led to another, and he found my cat. He had just gone missing the day before. I was so grateful. Then, when I got home, I saw that he'd made a donation to a local hospital in my name. He never even mentioned it. He also did my laundry.
Oh, that could have been worse. So the media gets its injection of gossip, and before it's debunked, they've already moved on to the next book. Cliff Sims was a low-level hack, but they could go even lower. I can't wait to see the next books. You know, Grounds for Impeachment, as told by the White House gardener. Boiling Over, I Burned Trump Steaks, and 12 other chapters from the White House chef. Inside Trump, a memoir with fold-out colonoscopies by the president's gastroenterologist. Fact is, everyone has something to say, and frankly, I gotta say that worries me.
Has Greg ever gotten mad at you for anything?
Yeah. One time I was really late. My train was delayed, and by the time I got there, Greg was in my office. And he looked pissed. But then he looked at me and he said, "I thought you were dead." And he got up and he hugged me. The biggest, best hug I've ever had. Better than any of my dad's hugs, even. And then he pulled out his wallet and gave me $600 for no reason.
Bottom line, the richer the life, the juicier the tell-all, which is why nobody will ever care about the Jim Acosta tell-all. By the way, it's called My Angry Cure for Sleep Apnea. Because no one in the media will ever get a tell-all like the ones they give to Trump. What's the difference between the press and Trump? He's interesting. The media, not even close. Well, except for me.
So you've known Greg for a really long time. Do you have any cool stories from the Red Eye days?
Oh, yeah, sure. Back in 2012, I was on my way over to Greg's house, and right as I was about to knock on the door, I heard screaming. And I knew it wasn't Greg's screams because I know Greg's screams, but it just kept getting louder and louder and louder. So I just kicked in the door, and what I saw was unbelievable. Greg was delivering a baby. Apparently, when he's not at Fox, Greg volunteers as a midwife. So I apologized about the door, and he said, "Oh, don't worry about that old thing. I was going to have it replaced. Here, have a hoagie."
What happened after that?
Oh, he gave me $600.
So you've ever had any problems working with Greg?
Oh, yeah. Last month, I was pretty convinced Greg had a drinking problem. He would only drink 7 glasses of water a day, and when I told him he should drink 8, he took my advice and then doubled my salary. Now I can quit my night job at the refinery and spend more time volunteering at the orphanage Greg founded.
So you were with Greg in the early days. Any stories from back then?
Oh, yeah, well, I don't really like to talk about it that much, but back in the early days, there were a lot of late nights, and Greg got me hooked on drugs. It's baby aspirin. So now every day I take a baby aspirin because it reduces your risk of heart disease. You know, I didn't know this at the time, but before the GG show, Greg practiced medicine at this orphanage he founded. He also gave me $600 once.
Let's welcome tonight's guests. Homeless people give him change. Comedian Jimmy Fallon. Try saying her name drunk. I dare you. Fox Business Network reporter Christina Partsinevelis. She cheered at the end of Old Yeller. Host of the Tyrus and Timpf podcast, Cat Timpf. And the Eiffel Tower is his golf club. Former WWE superstar, my massive sidekick, and the host of NBC on Fox Station, Tyrus.
Boom.
Jimmy. Yo. Good to see you dressed up again.
I did.
Today's man is suiting you.
They're killing it, man. Don't assume my gender, by the way.
I know. I'm sorry about that. So, these tell-alls, don't they have to step it up a bit? Because I feel like they're retreads.
Well, what's going on, and I'll be honest, I haven't read any of the tell-alls. I'm waiting for the box set to come out. But what's going on is, yes, when you do go in to sell one of these books, you have to get the publisher interested.
Right.
So they do a lot of embellishing. I mean, I know this. I have a book out.
Yes.
It's called Follow That Car. If you like reading at a 3rd grade level, you will love this book. But it also, at the same time as you read the inner workings of this administration and what goes on in the White House, you're kind of appreciative of it. Because could you imagine how boring the tell-alls about Hillary Clinton would be?
Oh, my God.
The only interesting chapter.
I think she gets pretty drunk.
Yeah, maybe. Well, the only interesting chapter would be when all the computers got a virus because Huma let Anthony Weiner use the Wi-Fi.
I would have thought it would have been like, which colored power suit should she wear for that day?
Spoken like a fan of the power suit.
I know, that's why.
Yes, that is quite a power suit, Christina.
It's a onesie.
Christina, you're a business person, or so I'm told.
Oh, yeah.
This is actually a business. I mean, Trump is basically revitalizing the tell-alls.
Yeah, no, why not capitalize on this?
Yes.
You're seeing literally political sales for books or politics book climb 25% just last year in 2018. So even if you just saw him drive by, or you're the gardener, the cook, why not write a book about it, like you mentioned at the top of the show? So they're capitalizing. Everybody's written one, and I've read one of them, Fear by Bob Woodward. There was nothing in it that was anything exciting or anything you could really write about.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Kat, who would you rather be, the subject of a tell-all or the writer of a tell-all? And then I realized you actually occupy the same space. Because you're like your own tell-all.
Yeah, I really kind of just wear all my secrets on my sleeve, and then I'm like, why doesn't anyone like me? You know? This wasn't shocking. It was more of the same, right? Like, things were a little crazy in the White House.
Yes.
We knew that already. That would be like someone writing a tell-all about the Kardashians that was like, they wear makeup, you know? Really not that shocking. It'd be shocking if somebody came out with a book that said, I worked for Trump and I was bored and he ate a lot of salads. Like, that would really, really shock me. But the thing is, no matter how many of these books come out, it doesn't really matter because no one really cares. The people who support the president, they're going to support him no matter what's going on in the White House because they like his policy proposals, they like his agenda, and that's all that really matters to them. So it's kind of a waste.
It is. I mean, I will say this, Tyrus. I enjoy the little tidbits, but they mean nothing to me. That's it. They mean, it's like what Kat says.
Really, Greg?
Yes.
Little tidbits and a tell-all mean nothing to you? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
What are you trying to infer?
Well, I don't know, because I wasn't allowed. My tell-all wasn't up there.
Oh, right now, do your tell-all.
Wasn't that crazy? Oh, I didn't get any. You asked every employee.
Yes.
No one even knew who Holly was. They do now. Why was I not asked? Why was I not asked?
Because you don't live in New York.
I've been here since Wednesday, sir. You're a little. It must be nice. You know, Mr. President, you could take a page out of the Gutfeld law. He did his own tell-all.
Yes.
He directed it. He produced it. I don't know if you guys noticed, but that muffled voice that was holding those people hostage for hours, that was Greg. He asked them, he sat while they talked about how great he was.
Yeah, that's true.
What's the name of your orphanage? Never caught the name of it.
Well, it's Greg's Orphanage.
Greg's Orphanage.
Just Google it.
Yeah. Anyone want to Google that?
Yes.
So I guess my point is that tell-alls are.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right. That leaves more time for the next segment. All right. Before we go, an update on the Gutfeld Monologues Live. The show in Tampa is sold out. I've never sold out anything. The tickets for all other shows are still available. Special guest Tom Slew. I did not sell you out. Go to ggutfeld.com for ticket information.